Sam Darnold, Garry Cobb, Southern California. This is the first man to ever win a Super Bowl from USC. He was the first USC Trojan to ever start a Super Bowl as a quarterback. Our friend, Garry Cobb from Fox 29 joins us now. How about that, G. Cobb? A little USC history made last night.
Whatever. I don't get all excited about that, but I will give him credit though. He showed a lot of toughness to be able to. The way he started off his career, like crap, up in New York, and to just get humiliated and everything, with the fact that he kept his eyes on the prize, and he had a great year last year in Minnesota. Like, what in the world are they doing? How could you let the quarterback walk? You got some of the best wide receivers in the league, and you have a great year offensively, and you just let him walk, and then of course you're not in the playoffs the next year after you had a 14-3 record. And you just let the guy walk. But anyway, he really showed a lot of mental toughness to be able to play. Because, you hear, he had to hear things, people saying things. And he fought through it. And now they got to give him his respect. He got a ring, and they got a good young team. They're probably going to be one of the teams. The Eagles are going to have to battle. They're going to have to go through Seattle at some point. Those teams are probably going to meet. If
they are. They're on their
things together.
They're on the schedule. They're on the schedule this year, so they're coming to Lincoln Financial.
That's going to be a good battle, man. They of course got that defense, and offensively, man, they got a nice team, man.
JSN, Gary, the one thing last night, we've seen this so many times when you and I were back in the league. If you didn't succeed as a quarterback within 3 years, they moved off of you. Yeah. Wasn't it the Sam Darnold story? Isn't it more about, it's more about organizations failing these guys by not putting great players around them. And this is kind of what they do in Philly for Jalen. Traditionally they put really good players around the quarterback. They don't do it in Buffalo as much, but they do it in Philly because, Sam Darnold, people aren't calling him elite after that. And now he's a Super Bowl champion because of what you just said. You don't have to have an elite player at that position any longer, do you? You have to have an elite roster.
Well, I guess there's some truth, but the quarterback has to, though. He's got to take care of the football.
No turnovers.
The turnovers. Come on, turnovers can kill you. And that's the thing. Yesterday with Darnold, in my looking at the game, I'm saying if he takes care of the ball, which. Man, he made some throws early in that game. His guy came down with the ball, but my goodness, the DB was all over him, just a split second away from picking the ball off. But things worked out for him. But yes, the quarterback, he does, he's got to be able to make plays. Now, you can't have a quarterback where you got such a good team where the quarterback's not going to have to make plays. No. Look at the game against L.A. He threw for 300-some yards, 3 touchdowns, and no picks. Now, that was a great game. And he had to put that together at the right time because if they hadn't, they'd have lost to the Rams. So I got to give him credit. He stepped up when he had to. He didn't have to do it all year because their defense was great. They played great all year, but they didn't play great against the Rams. The Rams were moving the ball, scoring and everything. And if he didn't have a great game against the Rams, they would not have made it to the Super Bowl. So you got to give him credit. He made the plays when he had to.
I'll tell you what, to your point, here's the number. Seattle didn't have 1 turnover in the playoffs.
That's
the entire NFC playoff run all the way through to the Super Bowl here. So, hey, after watching those two teams last night, don't you come away, if you're the Philadelphia Eagles, going like this? That's a missed opportunity, man, because, Gary, I don't think Seattle is a special team. I think they're great on defense.
Yeah.
I don't think that I think they're good. I really do think they're good.
They're good, but you're right.
But don't you think Philly belonged in that conversation with them? They shouldn't have tripped up against San Francisco. Don't you look at that as a missed opportunity?
without a doubt. It's a shame, you know. I know they look at it and with the, you know, as good as, you know, San Francisco is, which, you know, they're considered a better team than San Francisco when San Francisco's healthy. But San Francisco had so many of their best players were sidelined, and you don't beat them. I mean, you can't put but 19 points on the board, you know, with all these weapons offensively, and that's why, you know, Kevin Pattuto, that's why he got the machete, hit him right at the base of the neck, because, you know, come on, man. And you know, as much as people talk about, you know, AJ and what he said, AJ was telling the truth. We got to do better than this. Come on. There was no getting around it. He needed to do better. They needed to do better offensively. And they never moved up to the level they needed to move to offensively in order to be a team that could beat a good team. And you got to at least be able to put, you know, at least 30 points on the board against a sorry San Francisco defense that most of his best players were out for the season. My goodness, come on. You got guys they got off the street that were playing linebacker for them, and they could not get it done. Come on, that's so, you know, as much as AJ, people talk about AJ and all this, AJ was, what he was saying was the truth. And they didn't make enough changes. They didn't make the right changes in order to be able to get over the hump. So they got to do better, man. They know they got to do better, especially you got all the talent they have, and they still weren't able to do more than that offensively.
So what about this, Gary? So they hire a guy today who was probably the third choice because obviously Stoutland. I'll get your takeaway of Stoutland quitting, but so they got a guy who's a 2-year coach in Minnesota. The offensive line wasn't very good.
Yeah.
They've got this Sean Mannion guy who's not been a coordinator ever. They have almost replaced the entire offensive coaching staff. Do you think personnel changes are coming too? If you, Gary, if you know,
no, I don't think they want to. I think they want AJ back this year. They don't want that much change. I don't think they want that. I think they would like to have AJ back because they want to see how he's going to work with this guy. You know, with a talent like AJ, you know, they don't want him to leave. They would rather him stay here and see whether this guy can get everything out of him, you know, because, you know, AJ's a special talent. You know, a big wide receiver that can run, and he's physical, and he got great hands, and, you know, got all the tools you want. They don't want him to go. They would like to give this guy a chance to utilize him the way they thought Kevin Pattulo should have utilized him. See, that's why they've gone out and got this new guy. I'm sure they asked him, what would you do with A.J. Brown? And he probably laid out what he would do with A.J. Brown, how they could utilize him, how they could take advantage of his strength and the hands he has and his ability to run routes and all that. I'm sure he laid that out, and that's the reason he's here, is how he could utilize this talent. You know, and I'm sure they asked him about, you know, Saquon Barkley. How could you utilize Saquon? What would you do? And the reason that they got him here is because he had ideas that they didn't hear. Come on, I mean, it was pathetic the way that offense was last year. Same old route, 3 guys in the backfield. You hand the ball to Saquon, he got 3 guys on him every time he gets the ball. I mean, it was ridiculous, you know, and that's why I know with Coach Stoutland, a great guy and everything. But you know what? Truth of the matter is everybody's time comes.
Yeah.
You know, and
these are not Supreme Court justice jobs where you're going to keep them for life. It's just, I get that part, but I want to tell you what Adam Kaplan told me over the weekend. Mm-hmm. Adam Kaplan, you know who he is. He's a, you know, big time Eagle guy, lives in the area too. He said that Jeff Stoutland got very emotional when Nick went to him, when Nick was reorganizing the coaching staff. Yeah, he laid out his responsibilities, and he said, Jeff, we'd like you to be the offensive line coach, but as a run game coordinator, we're going in a different direction on game day decisions and how we're going to put the game plan together. Yeah, and we're going with a new philosophy here. And Jeff got up and looked him in the face, according to Adam Kaplan, who I'm going to get on tomorrow. He basically quit and said that, hey, look, you know, I'm out. And
hey,
what do you make coach and everything? What do you make how that ending went?
It's about production. You know, I'm sorry. It's about production. As much as good as he's been throughout the time he's been here, and he's a great coach, and these guys played harder for him.
So you don't have a problem with him being replaced?
I don't. What were the results from last year?
Not a very good run game.
Come on, they could not run the ball last year. They couldn't run the ball. I mean, I'm looking at Seattle yesterday. Seattle ran the ball all year. Now, why couldn't we run the ball? I mean, and you know the way it is in the NFL?
Yeah.
It's about production. I mean, you know what? I'll send some cards to you, your wife and some kids and your kids. You know what I mean? You know how it is. In fact, I sent some flowers over. But I'm sorry.
Hey, here's some flowers. Here's some flowers and some cards. By the way, Coach wants to see you. Bring your playbook.
Bring your playbook. It's about production, especially when you've got a team with the talent that they have on it. And I know they did have some guys, the offensive line, the guys were banged up, playing injured and everything. But I'm sorry. Hand the ball to Saquon. 3 guys in the backfield. Come on, man. Look, this is getting old. And so they weren't able to make the adjustment to really, get it together. And unfortunately, somebody was going to pay the price somewhere. And unfortunately, and he did a great job there, and he was there a good while, over a decade. So, I mean, it's tough. NFL is about production. Everybody knows that. Everybody knows. That's why guys get old. They look over there and say, "Hey, man, it's about that time for you, and it's time to go, man."
Hey, listen, I got to tell you this story. So, Ron Hughes, remember him with Detroit? Mm-hmm. Ron Hughes knocked on my door. And he was with Kevin Colbert, who went on to become the Steelers. He's been on this program, Kevin Colbert, when he was a GM. They go, "Look, don't knock me out. Wayne wants to see you." And I said, "Get the fuck out." I started every goddamn preseason game. I leading tackle. I played great. Mm-hmm. So I go in there, and Wayne goes like this: "Listen, we're going to cut you, but we're going to bring you back." And I went, "It's a roster thing." He goes, "Don't go anywhere." And I'm like, "You're going to cut me? And then what?" I had never heard of that. So he cut me 2 days.
That's those games they play, man.
He calls me up. He brings me back. He signs me. And he goes, because they had a guy named Rodney Pete. No, Lawrence Pete. They had Lawrence Pete, who was a backup nose. And I walked in there. He goes, "Listen, I don't want you to give it." So you're right. It's about how they see the roster, how they see things. It's just part of the NFL here. All right. Yep. Speaking of that.
Yep.
So how about Micah Parsons giving us a nugget that Jalen Carter was on the trading block? And Micah Parsons said this on his podcast. He goes, "Yeah, there was a 1 and a 3 in Jalen Carter for me to go to and the Eagles." He said he was almost an Eagle. What'd you make of Howie putting him? I can't think Howie's happy about that. If true,
I think Howie might have been just throwing something out there.
1 and a 3 and Carter for Micah.
I don't think I don't think that
you're not buying that.
Yeah, I'm not buying it either. But now his name could have been mentioned and everything because the Cowboys could have mentioned it. And I could see them. I mean, if they think they could get him, but I don't think the Eagles would be seriously considering doing that. I don't see that. Now they are frustrated with him. Now they are frustrated with him though.
Okay, are they going to pay him in the offseason here? Or do you think they kick the can down the road?
I think it's going to be down the road. I think they're going to kick the can down the road because all the nonsense last year. He really didn't have a really good year last year. So I don't think they're going to pay him right away. I think that eventually they plan on it, but they want to see him be the guy and be consistent. And no more of the nonsense. They want a guy that they can depend on to be there and be consistent, because he's shown he can play at the level that is a special level, but he's got to do it and he's got to be consistent about it. And it's got to be where they see the maturity in him. That's the big thing, is where hey, we don't have time for nonsense, okay? We want you to take care of business. And that means, he's shown some of it with, making sure he comes in the best of shape and all that. But that's what they got to see out of him, and really, Jordan Davis showed a lot of growth last year. I mean,
yeah,
and they would like to see that kind of growth in Jalen, see that kind of growth in him.
When you have a new offensive line coach coming in that's as young as he is, and you have a new run game coordinator, what do you think the future of Lane Johnson is?
He's considering, probably considering, that just taking off, especially now with this. But I don't know. I really can't say that I know what's in his head, though. He might say, hey, I'm going to play until, I still think physically, that I can play. And the whole thing is about his body. Now, he has had some injuries bothering him. So this is going to be, he got a tough decision to make. And really, I don't know what he's going to do, but that he's going to sit down and really take a good look in the mirror about what he's going to do, because, your Stoutland's not going to be there anymore. There's going to be some kind of changes with the offensive
The entire
line.
offensive coaching staff has been changed out.
Yeah. So,
hey, Gary, do you think the Eagles right now as a coaching staff are going through a rebuild that, here, get this year it's Stoutland retiring or leaving, walking out the building not happy.
Yeah.
They fired the quarterback coach. They got a brand new run coordinator. They got a brand new O-line coach. Is that going to happen next year when Vic leaves, that they're going to go through that and they're going to go through another young process at bringing in another young guy? Because it just seems to me they're beginning like a turnover here with the coaching staff. Like maybe
this is part of the NFL. It's part of the NFL. It's not a shock because their offensive line and the defensive coordinator, those guys are getting up there, and so it's a very demanding job. I see those guys come in there when they talk to the media and everything. You see the guys, see their eyes and stuff. They haven't gotten any sleep. They've been up all night. They, looking at tape and all this. It's very demanding. So I would imagine that this is a change that was bound to happen. It's, and then to stay up to where you're winning. If you're not winning, everybody's in jeopardy. That's the way it is in the NFL. If you're not winning, everybody's in jeopardy. So they did have a good enough year to where it wasn't like that. But at the same time, it's demanding. The offense had a subpar year, and so I don't think anybody's shocked that there've been changes that have been made, and maybe they weren't just firings. You had guys leaving, but this is what happens in the NFL. It's not really a shock.
Couple last ones here for you. Gary, do you believe Jalen Hurts can run a West Coast offense? Because the guys that they have hired, there's no RPO guys in this. They want to run a West Coast offense.
That's right.
Do you believe this quarterback can run a West Coast offense?
I think he can do that because every one of the West Coast offenses, none of them are totally the same. They've all got the personality of the quarterback in there. All of them got the personality of the quarterback. So I think that there are things that I think that he will flourish, in certain areas, But I think he's been in the game long enough to where there's certain parts of the Eagles offense that's, had borrowed things from the West Coast offense. So, none of them are totally pure anymore. Come on, all of the different coaches have borrowed things, and so I think he'll be able to do that. He's going to start now. I think that once he gets into a groove of it and everything, I think he'll be fine.
You know what, Gary?
Yeah.
I watched that Seattle team last night. Did you not, on defense, did you not do this? Did Mike McDonald, did he just take Vic Fangio's playbook and just incorporate the 2-eye safety and all? Boy, that looked exactly to me
It did.
Like
It
Vic
did.
Fangio's defense. I mean, it was
Yes, it did.
almost like every single thing that they did on that defense. It just reminded me of the 24 defense, and it looked like everything that Vic did. I mean,
Yeah.
it's almost like he took his playbook. Did he not
Yeah.
look like that? Because he
Without a
shut
doubt.
down Drake May with it.
That's right. It definitely seemed like that's what he did. And you see this where it's like this new position has been started, where you got like I'm talking about Cooper DeJean, where you've got this
Like Rover.
like, yeah, that's right, like a rover, where he's almost a slash linebacker,
Yeah.
but he's the kind of athlete though that can run with the wide receivers. He can cover. And he doesn't mind tackling. In fact, he likes to tackle. So you got a guy like that, and that's what I saw with Seattle, is that they have utilized that. And we saw the same thing with Cooper. It takes us, there's not but so many players in the league can do all of that. Where you got a guy, like I said, a guy with cornerback abilities who's willing to tackle. Come on, a lot of the corners, they don't want to tackle anybody. They're not eager to go up and tackle, but a guy that will come up and tackle, it really gives you a lot of freedom and a lot of things you can do if you have that type of player.
You know what, Gary? You know what it reminded me of when you were younger, and they were like the outside linebacker position.
Yeah.
All of a sudden, you saw Pat Swilling, you saw Mike Coffey, you saw guys like LT.
Yeah.
All of a sudden, they were rushing and they were bringing them. That was new for like guys. We had not seen that.
It was
and
new.
Like you're saying, these slot nickel corners guys are now that new version It's like a hybrid, right?
It's like a hybrid. And see, because they throw the ball so much now, you need a guy like that. And then if you got somebody in there and he's also willing to tackle, see, then you feel comfortable in there, even if they do run the ball. See, they know that he's going to come up, and if he's got a one-on-one tackle, he's going to be able to make that tackle. But he's got to be a guy with extraordinary abilities, where he can run, and he's willing, and he's got good size, and he's willing to tackle. And that's what they got, with Cooper DeJean. And you see these type of players, and I could see them coming up where they come up with a better name for those guys, where they just make sure that they stand out, because it's got to be a guy who's got the ability to do all these skills. And, it's come on. You ask them, just go down there. Hey, if the guy comes out there, it's a wide receiver, cover him. Don't worry about it.
Okay, last one then for you.
Mm-hmm.
Let me go with Nico Dean then, because you're talking to me about guys who can do multiple things.
Yes.
Fill a hole and cover, okay?
Yep.
Who's more important, do you think, in Vic's scheme on a re-sign? Jalen Phillips or Nico Dean?
Well, the thing I tell you is with this team and the personality, I think Nicobe was very important, because Nicobe was the leader.
They were a different team when he was out there.
That's right. He pushed guys. You got to realize that he's kind of almost been a big brother to a lot of these guys. Because look, how many of the guys from Georgia?
Yeah, I know.
And you see, he's at a point now where he can walk up to, Jalen Carter and get after him, because at times, you need that. Whatever. If you're not playing well, if you didn't make a play, if you're not hustling or whatever it is, and Nicobe has that with all those guys, all those Georgia guys on the team.
Equity.
They're all key parts of the defense. So I think he's very, very important. But, I can tell you that I know when he left the locker room, when I was, the game was over, I got the feeling, because he came over, gave me a hug. I could tell by the way that he thinks he's out there. He
was at the Super Bowl, and he kind of was sending like messages out there that, it's about a 50-50 deal that he's brought back. And obviously this is all more about the injury factor with them. I mean, with all that being said, it sounds like he wants to come back.
Yeah. He loves it. Come on. Like I say, and I see them, all of those Georgia guys, they're all together. See them getting ready to go out, get something to eat, got all the, and they're comfortable with each other. And so he's got that group. And come on, a third of the defense right there.
Yeah.
You know? So he's got that, but I think he knows there's a chance that they'll move on because, you know, the young kid, Jahad, you know, Jahad Campbell, he's got to be on the field. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I mean, I thought they mishandled him at the end there because I don't think he was playing bad.
Yeah, come on. Well, it wasn't that. It was that, you know, of how
Kobe came back.
It was how important the Kobe was to the defense. That's why. But as an athlete, as a player, and we talk about guys that are the type of player who can do all these different things. That's Jahad Campbell. You know, you see him run down and get an interception, knock a ball down. Yep. He's down 30, 40 yards downfield, running with a running back or a receiver, whatever. You know, he's got those type of skills. So I don't see any way they can keep him off the field because even if you have him coming off the corner or whatever, there's nothing the kid can't do. And you know, he's the kind of kid who has got a great work ethic. He's smart. You can't keep him off the field. He's got to be on the field. See?
Garry, I got to bring this last one up to you here. Listen, Milton Williams on Saturday was asked about leaving Philly, and he goes, "I never wanted to leave.
Yeah,
I wanted to be a Philadelphia Eagle. The problem is that general manager never contacted me. He never contacted my agent. They never put a deal on the table, and it was just never. My agent reached out to him. I
cannot blame the Eagles because."
He's some ball player, Garry.
I know that. I know, but $25 million. I mean, I don't know how they were going to be able to pay him, but he is. We saw that in the game and during the playoffs. You can see he's a great player. I mean, and I know they didn't feel good about letting him go, man. But they can't sign everybody. So, but we'll see. You know, he helped them get to the Super Bowl.
So, well, he's been in the Super Bowl 3 times in 4 years. I mean, there's something to the guy. He's one thing's for sure. Jalen's a winner. This guy, winning. How about this, Garry? Winning follows this guy. Okay, I mean, those are the kind of guys you want on your football team when winning follows you, right?
That is true, and you see, he's got the maturity. It's not just his skills. You see how he, just being around him, you see how. He's putting it all out there, and he's helping the other guys that are playing with him, meaning, you know, working with the younger guys, teaching them and everything. That's the kind of atmosphere where you got a quality team, where you have guys trying to help their teammates get better too. And that's good. You need those kinds of guys around. But that's Nico Dean. See, he's that kind of guy. He's making all these other guys better. So they let him go. They realize that, you know.
I heard that you added Bad Bunny on your playlist. Is that true? Or is that
nah?
No Bad Bunny.
I'm not a Bad Bunny guy, man. Hey, you know, if you gonna send me any of his stuff, send it to somebody else that's gonna really listen to it. Okay?
JAKIB, I appreciate you more than you know, man. Thank you so much, my friend.
All right, have a good one.
You got it. Yeah. Wonder how many people